You're watching HuffPost Live. I'm Nancy Red, and recently Ariana Miyamoto was crowned Miss Universe Japan. Now, in most ways, she's just like any other beauty queen, gorgeous and statuesque. But compared to previous Miss Japans, there's something a little different and groundbreaking about her win. Ariana is the first mixed-race winner of the pageant in Japan's history. Born in Nagasaki to a Japanese mother and an African-American father, she's a one-woman beauty revolution who's breaking down barriers one runway at a time. But reaction in Japan has been mixed, with some saying she's not Japanese enough.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for people to start looking at themselves and maybe like their own country. In the media, it's very common to see people who are multiracial, actors, models. They're constantly in television shows and fashion magazines, even in movies. And so to me, it was a big surprise that she was actually the first multiracial Miss Universe to appear selected. So as I mentioned on NBC News, I thought it was about time, really, to have her selected, yeah.
Well, this story has made headlines everywhere. Megumi, on CNN, Ariana actually said she was bullied. Kids threw trash at her because she looked different, because of not of her biracial background and her appearance. Is this something you can relate to? Is this something that's common?
I'm very fortunate in the fact that I was not bullied as a child growing up in Japan, but I was very acutely aware that I was different from my classmates when I attended Japanese school. And in our own film, we cover a story of a young boy who is bullied at school and kind of follow how his family struggles with this issue and how they choose to cope with it. So it is a prevalent problem, but I think, bullying is an issue that is a much bigger issue in Japan in itself, and that, it's just one possible thing to be picked up and bullied about. It could be many other things as well.
Well, we're going to open up the conversation to the larger scope of what this means in a second, but I do want to talk about one of the things your film touches upon, and one of the things that Ariana is representing, Laura, is how hot foods are changing Japan and therefore the world. Unpack that a little bit.
Well, I don't know so much about changing Japan, or changing the views maybe on the people who live in Japan. I mean, every day now, 20,000 babies are born to maybe one parent who's not Japanese, right, every year. And so it's a common thing to run into multiracial people in Japan nowadays. I think that people should start not really feeling surprised about it. Like, to me, it would always happen when I first arrived in Japan. The first reaction with the Japanese native would always be, first of all, they'd be surprised that I could speak the language. And then I would have to introduce myself and give them my full life story in order for them to continue talking to me. Otherwise, they would always be like, wait a minute, it's not normal that by your looks you could speak the language. So what are you, like, what's the deal with you? So that would be a constant reminder for like the past 7 years. I would have to constantly explain myself to any person that I would meet for the first time. So that was a bit like tiring to me. And I feel like it should really not be such a surprising thing nowadays, really.